Good evening, welcome to The Lounge. And The Lounge is brought to you by Johnny Walker. Keep walking. My name is Sakyi-Addo, and The Lounge is broadcast from the Equator Bar at La Palme Royal Beach Hotel in Accra. Social media has expanded the frontiers of communication by, well, removing the frontiers and diminishing the importance of distance and place. No matter where on earth we are, we can speak to one another in real time with ease and at costs unimagined less than just a decade ago. People can exchange ideas, they can trade, they can establish currencies even, wire money, hold webinars and board meetings and earn a degree and yet be physically located under a baobab tree or in a tin shack. But there are downsides to social media. It's difficult to regulate or control. It's difficult to establish the real identities of who is online, which facilitates aggressive behavior, including bullying that led sometimes to suicides. It's even a terrorist's haven. Yet, it doesn't appear social media will disappear anytime soon. In fact, it will expand as more and more people, institutions, and services get connected. So how best can we in Africa harness the immense power of social media without losing our ethos, our who we are? Communications professor Audrey Gadgetmo, social media strategist Maximus Ametogo, and now Oyo Kumoji, a blogger and social media marketing expert, join me for drinks tonight on The Lounge. Thanks. Can I call you guys?
Yes.
Yeah, of course.
And thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
All right, excellent. So, what are you drinking? Oh, you got drinks already.
Yes, apple juice.
You have, Audrey, are you sure that's apple juice?
It smells a little different, but I'm sure it will taste.
Okay, your apple juice is
It's got a little zap in it.
Okay. All right. Okay. Anybody want a drop of a black label with it?
Sure.
Okay.
Why not?
All right. Good.
Just a drop.
Just a drop.
You said a drop, right?
Like keep walking.
Okay.
Yeah, so I can keep walking.
Right. Exactly. So you can keep walking. Okay. So on radio, what we're doing is I'm pouring some whiskey for one of the. Yes. Is it okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. Okay. Okay.
So this is whiskey and pineapple juice.
Yeah.
With ice.
A cocktail.
Sounds nice.
Yeah.
It's called The Lounge. This
Yeah.
drink.
Oh, this drink. Oh, wow.
Yes.
Okay. They go henceforth.
Okay, so great space that social media has opened. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everywhere is here. Here
Yeah.
is everywhere, as in baby Ania. And yet there are downsides.
Yeah.
Maybe let's look at the positives. What it's done for everyone in the last
10 years.
10 years,
Yeah,
especially.
About 10 years, yeah.
Okay, all right.
You know what my head Zuckerberg said today?
Mark.
No, what
Mark
is it?
Zuckerberg, Facebook. Well, I saw it on TV today. I don't know whether he said it today.
Okay.
But he was saying that there's a new mission for Facebook, and the mission is to bring the world closer together and communities closer together.
Exactly.
And I think that sort of sums up some of the more positive aspects of social media. The fact that it can bring the world closer together, and it can bring communities closer together in all kinds of very exciting ways.
Yes, I totally agree. You know, he set out to basically build networks where people can connect easily. People can, have discussions, not just, for fun, but then to actually interact. I mean, he started when he was in school, right? Mm-hmm. And that's for Facebook. And then Twitter comes along and Instagram comes along. And it's like the whole commonality between them is basically building networks, people sharing fun photos, engaging, you know, making new friends. It's kind of like when we're in school and we called ourselves pen pals, right? Oh, I have a pen pal in London, I have a pen pal in the US, right? But this is like now
Except it took like a month
before you get some response from your
right.
pen pal, but it's like instant.
You had to go to the post office and buy a stamp and lick
exactly.
the bag. And
so in that sense,
yeah.
young people are much more internationalized, isn't it? Because
yes.
they're connected to people in all corners of the world very easily, chatting with them in real time,
exactly.
many times during the week. They don't have to wait for a month to respond to that letter.
Yeah. So I think social media, I think, has digitized our social life, right? So instead of traveling to my village to talk to my brother or my grandmother, I can WhatsApp her, right? So
you can call her on WhatsApp.
Yeah, of course,
so
I can
do
that.
So
and video call her as well.
Exactly.
So we can
see and she can see you.
Yeah, so we can be present everywhere, anytime, and it's cheaper. We don't need to buy your plane ticket to talk to somebody in the US. You can do that via Facebook or via WhatsApp, right? So Facebook is a social media is a way of flipping the web to the user. First, companies had their presence online, so they posted all the content you needed to see, and the media people published the content. Now they flipped the back end of the internet to the user, so you generate your content.
Yes.
Now, social media is now the #1 activity on the internet, right? So people thought pornography was addictive enough until social media came. When people sleep on their phones and they always chat on their phones, phones are like their seats, like a body organ that you can't forget. Sometimes you forget your name, but you won't forget your mobile phone.
And when you forget your phone, you panic. It's a crisis.
Oh my gosh, you're willing to go back.
They've been able to understand our habits.
Your number is your number is your middle name.
Yeah. So I was surprised that now anybody anywhere can just create an account and start chatting with Kweku. There's no need to come to Kweku's office, ask for the secretary and the rest. So everything has been dismantled, what we are used to, and now I can walk to President Nana Addo's page and send a comment to him, or I can send a message to former President Jomama's Facebook message inbox, and I'll get a response.
Yeah, so
all the protocols and the walls around Flagstaff House are all broken.
So in that sense, it's real democratization of communication. The gatekeepers have been sort of eliminated, and the point he makes about people generating their own content is what is another exciting aspect. We are both consumers of content creators
as well,
and then it gives us instant feedback and interaction and all of that. So it can keep conversations going. And one of the things I sort of, on a more serious note, like about social media or appreciate about social media, if you're an activist, if you want to advocate around an issue, you can use social media. You don't have to go onto the streets and have them hose you down,
You don't have to write to the police to ask for
permission to them
and wait for them to to grant it or deny it.
Remember during the Occupy Flagstaff House campaign,
exactly.
They used social media to organize the people. So the police were in the dark as to what was happening, and before they realized, the people changed positions and they moved closer to the Flagstaff House, and it was social media powered.
And as businesses now too, and how previously it's always been the business, pushing customers to come and buy via the newspaper ads, via billboards, marketing through all this traditional media. But all these things now, it's like it's being broken down, and social media now is the most cost-effective way to actually get closer to your customer. Now the business has to create the human voice to actually get their customers to come and buy. And it's not just about, come and buy my orange juice, or come and buy my chaliwasi, or come and buy my bag. But you actually have to educate customers now through social media as a business.
So that's the kind of thing you do?
Yes, for me, that's what I do. I have to help brands to actually give value beyond actually come and buy my product. You know, so the value creation process is very key. As a business, you need to know what your strategy is even before you go on social media.
When you say value creation, what do you mean?
So, for example,
I've got a product, I've got a service, I'm an SME, a small enterprise.
Right.
I'm listening to you.
So, for example, you have a product for expectant mothers. So, let's say maternity dresses, and you don't want to just display maternity dresses and say, "Oh, WhatsApp me." That's what most businesses are doing now, unfortunately. Yeah. But the value creation that you want to provide is maternity health tips. Right. So because the sort of audience you want to attract to your page, they are interested in knowing how to improve their maternal health. Yeah. What kind of baby products to actually buy that will be suitable. How to even choose your maternity dress, because it's a dress, yes, but there are things to look out for, right? How to even eat healthier as an expectant mother. So you want to even bring, let's say, dietitians to the Facebook page where you can do a Facebook Live, like we are streaming live now, and the dietitian will talk to expectant mothers, and expectant mothers can ask them questions because they can post comments and, my doctor says I should eat this, I shouldn't eat this, and the dietitian can actually, educate people live, and actually respond to comments live. So it's broad brand.
So you're not just selling dresses.
You're not just selling, baby products or diapers, etc. You're actually providing invaluable information, customer information to your audience or to people who have liked your page, So they'll always keep coming to your page because they know that there's something very valuable for them on your page. Yes.
I mean, for news, it's also changed. Yes. Of course, it provides journalists with a lot of competition, newspapers, radio. Exactly. There's a competitive challenge, but there's also the positives because you can keep this conversation going beyond. So we're taping on radio, we're taping on television, but beyond that, because of social media, this conversation can continue after we're done here, you know? And it gives issues a lot more traction than before, and you get many more people giving you feedback than you otherwise would, Of course, the downsides are that sometimes the feedback is not positive, so you get beyond the show where you think it's done, the negative
you learn from it as well, right?
Yes,
the media houses are scared of social media because of the time value they lose in distributing their content. Because something happens, there's somebody with a production machine, so he just take a picture and video and he's
production machine being the mobile phone.
Yes, right. So we are waiting for 12, noon news. Meanwhile, the thing happened at 8 a.m. So the social media audience, they've consumed it, digested it, forgotten about it, they moved on.
Yeah, now the
right?
TV
now the traditional media, they're going to write it down for you to broadcast.
But they all
and then the
online.
newspapers, so the newspapers now want to go and get access to the picture and print it for you the following day.
Yes.
Now the social media audience, you've lost them because they are already done with that news. So I think there's a paradigm shift. Even newspapers should be thinking about, okay, are we selling news or the paper? Right? Because social media is owning the news now, and then the newspapers are owning the paper. And they need to change that. I know there are, production protocols you go through to ensure quality, but what we are consuming currently on social media and traditional media is not different.
Audrey, let's address it.
I think it is different, and it can be different. Some of it is not different. Sometimes social media leads the news, right? Yes. With the traditional media. But people go to traditional media to verify the news because people have come to understand that there's a lot of fake news, there's a lot of exaggeration, there's a lot of distortion of facts that can happen on social media. So if you're discerning, and it's not everybody who is discerning, I must admit, but if you're discerning, you will go to traditional media to have that verification. And also the value of traditional media is that still, that's where your public opinion leaders, or shall I say, your policy makers, I think that's better. Your policy makers, your political elite, that's where they still gather. That's where they still try to reach audiences. And so in that sense, traditional media is still very relevant. And there are certain things that you will get on traditional media that social media just picks up a portion of. You don't get the full picture, you don't get the full...
You don't get context.
You don't get the context, you don't get the depth sometimes.
Right. So you get the tip of the iceberg,
yes,
but not what's underneath.
Yes.
Yeah, but we don't forget that most of these traditional people also have social media presence. So whatever news I want to find out, within some few hours, they'll bring the details. Also, so I will stick to the social media presence of those traditional media houses instead of buying the channels. So giving them eyeballs or my ears or buying their papers.
Bingo, bingo, you're absolutely right. They all have social media pages, and it also then allows them to do different things. For example, journalists can now blog. So we want to separate the news, the facts from opinion. However, you can complement it with a blog that gives much more, insight and all of that. So the advantages, and also, of course, it brings citizens closer to the news. I mean, imagine, particularly in our context, if you can empower people in my village of Anyako, they can feed me with what is going on in Anyako, because I cannot afford to put a journalist in Anyako. It's too far away, but through social media, you can mobilize, grassroots news if you're so minded, so that we become better informed about what's happening.
But even if you do, even whilst you do that, you still have to apply the traditional filters, isn't it?
Exactly. Absolutely.
To be sure that what you're getting from this citizen journalist in Anyako is good to eat.
That is true.
That's very true.
That's absolutely true. I mean, so you can never, if your traditional media gets away with the first principles that you are taught in journalism school. Journalism is about verification.
Yes.
The first principle, verification. You've got to verify the facts.
I remember being in a meeting once, and someone actually said that, isn't media about speed and not quality? I'm like, no, it's not about who releases the content first, but you always have to ensure that your content is quality and not about how fast you release it. And now we see social media, like people are so eager to actually be the source of breaking news as citizen journalists, right? Or as citizens, so that they get viral.
Of course.
And unfortunately, it's like people are also not fast enough to verify and check and make sure that this is actually true, and they quickly share until, traditional media or someone comes out to say that, no, this is, out of context, or this person didn't say this, or this actually happened.
Totally false.
Oh, it's totally false, etc.
There are people who've been reported dead many times over.
Yeah, exactly.
And just somebody makes it up.
Yes.
But that brings us to fake news.
Yes. But before I go to fake news, I just want to make the fundamental point that the operative word is social. It's social media. And what drives our societies and our conversations? Gossip, gossip.
Sitting under the tree and talking,
right? So we must bear that in mind, because sometimes I think we get all hung up. We expect ordinary people who use social media to exchange information, to act like journalists. They're not journalists.
No, they are not.
It is a social space, and sometimes you trade gossip, and triviality, Although sometimes I have to say some of the triviality kills me. Who wants to know that at this moment I'm biting on a piece of yam and then photograph? And I have walked out, I've finished eating my yam. Here is my plate. Have you seen how I've polished it off? I'm like,
no, that's not good content.
So what is it that drives people to do that, by the way?
Yeah.
No, you see, they want theirs to be...
What's that?
The informal aspect of their social life. So I want Kweku to see that, okay, I have a glass of, juice that I'm drinking, so I'm done with the juice.
Why though?
Yeah, you see, social media is becoming a way of documenting our behavior, our social life. So as much as possible, you want to add a lot of details to spice it up, right? So breaking the formal aspect of the things. Okay, always, okay, I'm walking to Equator Bar to have a drink and all that. You know, I want to take a selfie. Instead of standing there straight and then taking the picture, I want to take a selfie with Kweku.
You want your friends to know.
Yes, so I want to take a selfie with Prof instead of standing there straight with Prof and taking a portrait for social media. The content treatment is quite different from the traditional media
basically
treatment.
Want to look cool and not too formal, right?
Yes.
And sometimes I feel like there's a line that you cannot cross or you should be careful about, especially on social media, right? Maybe we can talk about personal branding later, but basically you want to make sure that you are controlling what you're posting.
Okay, just hold it right there about personal branding, because that's important about what the trail that we are leaving, the archive that we're creating.
Yes.
You're watching The Lounge. My guests, now Oyo Komoji, Professor Audrey Gajekpo, and Maximus Ametogo. We're discussing social media. Yes, okay. Yeah. I stopped you. I will stop you when you're about to.
The good stuff is coming out, right?
So personal branding.
So a brand is no longer a business. You know, when we talk about brands, people always think of business, right? It's like, oh, it's a business brand. No. Now you are a brand, I'm a brand, he's a brand. Kweku is also a brand. Everybody is now a brand. The Lounge, Equator Bar is a brand on its own, right? But basically, once you create a Facebook page, you have a Twitter profile, you're on Google Plus, you are a brand because now you have a digital footprint. Yeah. And you want to make sure that what you are posting is not going to affect you as a brand.
You must manage the brand.
You must manage yourself online, and it's very critical. I mean, later when we talk about cyberbullying, etc. But once you put your presence out there, because sometimes people say, oh, I'm afraid to get on Facebook. Yeah, I don't like Facebook. But once you get on there, it's up to you to decide what you post, right? Because as a brand, you cannot afford to allow some things to go there via what you post, right? You are totally in control of what you are posting, right?
This is real time.
And it's real time. Because don't forget, people can now screenshot what you post online and then save it for later use to come and use against you. True. And it's happened so many times. It's happened to so many companies and celebrities, etc. online, right? That, oh, you said this in 2010 and now you're saying something else in 2016. So personal branding online is very key. It's no longer, you don't have to be a personality or a celebrity to actually say that, oh, I'm a brand, right?
Well, and you don't know when you might become
and you never know. Exactly.
A celebrity, so, or you might become more important than you are today.
So whether you're a student, you know, you're a brand because you might be looking for a job one day. Yeah. And guess what? HR experts and, you know, HR managers are now going online to actually check your social media handles before they even consider calling you for an interview. That's so true. Whatever you post on Facebook, whatever you're posting on Twitter, just be mindful.
Audrey has a story about some students being whose admissions.
Yes, at Harvard. It was in the news recently where people, some students had been given admission to Harvard and Harvard revoked that admission because they had formed a social media group where they were, as people, prospective students going into Harvard. They haven't even entered yet. And they were exchanging information and some of it was seen, not about the school, personal stuff and feelings about certain issues, and some of it was considered very unacceptable. It betrayed their values. Yeah. And so Harvard revoked their admissions. And of course there's a controversy about it, but the fact is that their admissions got revoked. Not because they were on an official Harvard page, it was them. And it came to light what they were doing.
The things that were inconsistent with what Harvard would accept.
Precisely. Yeah.
Okay, so social media, you see, you are documenting yourself. And I'm not sure it's by accident that they call your profile picture. You are profiling yourself. So your profile and the picture that goes with it.
So what happens when people put dogs there?
Yeah, so they are just profiling who they are, right? So they are a lover of dogs. So whatever content you are pushing, you are just documenting. It's an open diary you are building on social media. So somebody can just pick it up and even analyze it. Now they even have third-party softwares that can analyze your profile, and I can tell you what drink you always drink on Friday.
Yes.
And that's what they use. You know, that those kind of intelligence they use to even show content on your page, because usually they show the content based on relevance, not about how the time that the content was posted. So companies can advertise and reach you. So as an individual,
so they are not broadcast. So advertisers aren't broadcasting; they are narrowcasting.
Yes, that's what they're
targeting.
Doing.
So
targeting
you,
right?
Very, very specific, because whatever action you take on Facebook or Twitter, for example, it's all data.
Yeah.
You know, even if it's a picture, I mean, artificial intelligence can read it, AI can read it, you know, machine learning, algorithms, etc.
Yeah.
So they know that, oh, I come to Equator Boy and I eat samosas and spring rolls every Friday night.
And by the way, you can tuck into the spring rolls.
Yes.
Yeah, so.
Thank you. So if, let's say, I have a business and I'm making pastries, for example, right, and I want to boost or create an ad on Facebook to make my brand, to get awareness of my brand, Facebook is going to use, you know, that data that, okay, this lady has been eating this food every day at Equator, so she loves samosas, right? So when I set my ad, Facebook will tell me that, oh, target this person, not the name though, it's a number, it's a statistic, you know. So next time that person goes on Facebook, they'll see a samosa company or a spring roll company, you know. Yeah.
And that's kind of the kind of precision that you don't have in traditional media.
No. Yes.
Right. So Facebook knows who wants what at what point in time, and they can target the person. They can even tell the volume of content you consume every day, so they don't spam your wall with a lot of content that you may even just scroll through.
Yeah.
Right. So they have an intelligent back end to do that. And each time you post something, you are just strengthening their intelligence about you as an individual. Right.
I'm not the host, but I have to ask you. So are we getting into a Big Brother sort of situation where
we are already there.
You know, somebody has so much information, so much power about you.
You know?
It is frightening, and for me, it scares me.
And for me, I mean, personally, it's not everything I put out there, right? For example, my phone number. Because sometimes I have some social accounts asking me to, oh, we want to secure your account, so add your phone number. I feel like my phone number is too personal to share, you know. So I abstain totally from giving out my phone number. I will not share information about, let's say, where my house is. I'll not post that, oh, I'm not home. I'm going away, you know, for the holiday.
And a lot of people do that.
Yeah. And they don't even put off the location feature on their mobile phone, because what you do is that every time you post something, it tags your location if you don't put it off.
Geotagging.
So you don't need to even write that I'm leaving the house.
Yes.
Right, so people can tell whether you're posting from the house or outside the house.
And your advice to people, you know, there are lots of people getting onto social media and new, and your advice is what?
Well, it's all up to you and what you post. Whatever you want to put out there, make a decision that I want these people to see. Because, for example, let's take Facebook. You can set it that only my friends should see this, or the public. And when you set it to public, that means anyone on Facebook or with a Facebook account is going to see what you post. Be aware of the security features. These are things you can set. Go through the settings. And people often don't read, you know, the settings or the fine lines or the fine print.
Most people don't. Most of us don't.
But we have to, you know, be aware of certain images that you can or you cannot post. If somebody, you can report a post that you don't even like, you know, or you can block someone. So these things are there to help us to be more secure on Facebook.
You've reminded me of that Ghanaian guy who went to Canada, I think it was, and he had pornography on his phone.
A child porn,
child porn on his phone, and he was arguing that he didn't know. And we don't know whether he knew or not. But I think the important lesson from that is that every day we all belong to these different WhatsApp groups, and people post any nonsense. Sometimes it's inappropriate. I mean, I've been in groups where somebody will post something and will have to, you know, point out to the person, like, this is so inappropriate. This is not what our group is about. But the person has posted it anyway. If you're not minded to delete that
from
image,
your phone.
you know, you could get into trouble. And I don't think a lot of people realize
and
that.
I think the first thing is to have an objective, whether as a group or as an individual, why you are going on social media. Because social media is a double-edged thing. It's like fire. You either get burnt or show your light, or you use for cooking, right? So you must have that objective very clearly. And of course, you want to connect with people you already know offline. That is my policy. If I don't know you offline, and I can't connect you to a friend I know offline, you can't be my friend on social media, right? So, and every group.
What if it's for business purposes?
Yeah, for business purposes, if you send me a friend request, for example, I'll audit your account.
Yes.
Right? I'll go to your page and see even the friends that we have in common, how many times you posted on your page, whether you're even using your real photograph. If there's a connection between myself and yourself.
People that I know,
and
I can relate to.
If you're a page that usually shares other people's content instead of your personal opinion, then you are not socializing.
Exactly.
And if you have a silhouette on your profile page instead of a personal picture, there's no way I'm going to accept your friend request because it's Facebook. Right?
Where's your face?
So your face is not there. These are things that you need to understand as an individual.
Exactly.
Social media is supposed to be a mirror of the actual life. So if I don't know you offline, I will not be in a hurry to accumulate a lot of fans by just accepting anybody's friend's request. Right now, even Malams even sent requests.
I know.
Right? So they are sending you friend requests.
Why?
Malams are now on social media.
I don't know.
Well, they're marketing.
They're marketing
of
their
course.
business.
They also understand
Good for them. I'll use this in my class next week. You know why? Because I'm teaching a media and society class, and I talk about how the charismatics, the neo-Pentecostalites, are very social media savvy. So and I usually give students an experiment, go on social media and see whose presence you see. And it's usually, the charismatic churches, really very savvy, pushing their line, all kinds of ways of connecting. And I think it's because their congregation is also young. And so they use that.
It's not just young.
But for Malam,
I'm on Dr. Otterville's team, for example, strategies of social media. And trust you me, the kind of engagement you drive on the page, very high. You post something and within an hour you have 5,000 people reacting to it, and you are reaching 200,000 people. You are streaming video for 4 hours and you are reaching 1 million people within 4 hours across the world. That's the power, and different demography. It's not just young people. You have 40-year-olds, 50-year-olds, lawyers.
40-year-old is not young?
Yeah.
And I think as churches,
so powerful.
Yeah, for churches it's very powerful. And I mean, personally, I keep telling people in my church that they need to be aware of, the security issues when it comes to social media. Because, when you're on WhatsApp group, people shouldn't forget that WhatsApp is also social media. It's not just, people see it as just chat. No, but it's also social, right? And they need to be aware of child safety, and putting baby photos. And I mean, we've crossed the line. There's no privacy anymore.
True.
And I mean, when I think back, like how our grandmothers who even warn us, this picture that you've taken, this and stuff. We're very private when it came to showing our baby to the world. A child will be named after 7 days or 8 days. But now it's like in the middle of childbirth, you are seeing someone being delivered. Or someone is posting that they are newborn, and it's like
to the world.
To the world, not just
family.
To the world. And because people can screenshot, even if you are just showing to your friends, someone will screenshot and post it as if it's their content, which is not, And so I keep telling church groups, etc., that this is something we must be talking about a lot at the pulpit, because there are also young people in the church that are not very aware of,
and I remember
the ugly side of social media.
Just hold on a second, because I've got a few messages. So Sebonsu, listening from Lagos, says, interesting topic. Please ask your guests how to prevent people from posting unnecessary material on social media. I mean, can you prevent?
Can you prevent? No, you can't prevent.
Because
everyone has a right.
But of course, if someone persistently posts sort of stuff that's unacceptable,
you can block them.
You can block them.
If
they're posting to you, you can unfriend, you can block
them, so there are all these.
And most times when you hide their posts, Facebook gives you the ability. When you hide their posts, they reduce the frequency with which their content is fed into your news feed.
So maybe you don't want to unfriend them, you want to, hide their post, their content.
Okay, and if you're not sure what to do, ask somebody who does, who knows what you can do.
But you can't stop someone else.
Jane, because we have to remember many people are new, are having their first experience with mobile technology, and this is new for millions of people. Jane from Dansuman says she loves the topic. Thanks, Jane. Kwame Ali in Tema says, please ask Prof, do your students perform well on social media topics?
What does he mean by that?
I suppose, for example, you were just saying a moment ago that you're giving them some assignment.
Oh, to go on cyberspace and see which religions is on. We use social media these days as part of the teaching environment. Part of it is, of course, you're going to be posting information to students much more easily. You give assignments by WhatsApp? Yeah, well, yes, you can. Or if there's a change in class schedule, yes, absolutely. I love my students to email me assignments rather than hard copy because it's easier to grade and to show tracking and all of that. So, we can do all that. But what I discovered was that a lot of my students, in fact, I was very surprised when I asked this year my students, what media they consumed. And almost without exception, they got news from social media, not even radio. And I have to say that really surprised. Not even radio. It was social media.
The minutes they wake up, they're on Facebook or Twitter.
Yeah. And I felt, and of course I'm a digital immigrant, aren't I? And they are digital natives.
Natives, yes.
Well, I just felt you guys don't have enough information about what is going on in the world if you're going to stick only to social media as your news source. So you can imagine how much I tortured them with assignments that forced them to listen and read traditional media.
But is that true, though? Do you think that they're losing out on what's the rest of the stuff that's going on the blind side of social media? Is there anything going on the blind side of social media?
You see, you are living in a community, right? The media channel you want to listen to is already present on the social media channel. And then your circles of friends even know the kind of content you will love. So they'll start tagging you in some of the news posts, and even the WhatsApp group that you have, they start pushing the news to you in your face. Now, the magic about social media is that the content finds you, not you finding the content.
To be suggested
based on your profile, they can say, okay, political news will be of interest to Maximus, so let's push a lot of political news to his news feed. Entertainment news.
Maximus, it means that we're a very fragmented audience. So we're not all having similar national conversations. And there's a certain, I wouldn't call it danger, but there's a certain
risk.
Challenge in that.
Because what you are listening to.
Sorry, because.
Yes.
Well,
Audrey,
because if you are only interested in a certain kind of news and I'm only interested in a certain kind of news, when it comes to particularly issues of social salience, you won't even know it's going on because you're not consuming that kind of news.
Prof, is it?
As opposed to, imagine we are all listening to the same national networks.
Okay.
So whatever is news, afterwards, me and you, when we go to work, we can talk about it. Did you see what was on TV the other day? Blah, blah, blah. Did you see what, blah, 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 blah. We can't have that anymore because we are so fragmented. What you are watching is not what I am.
It's more diverse. And for me, like an app, let's say there's this app called Flipboard, right? So Flipboard allows you to create the sort of news you are interested in from different, so whether it's Cosmopolitan, Mashable, or it's BBC, CNN. You can even add Joy FM to it, right? And you have more diverse content.
Actually, you can add Star FM,
Star FM, and GH1 TV as well, and you can add YouTube as well. You know, exactly. You know, so I think that the diverse content makes the conversations more interesting because you miss out on something. No, you know. And
I want to add that, see, we can listen to 12 o'clock news. Now they're talking about 8 different things. Trust you me, when we go back to the office, we're going to select the ones that we are interested in, not all the 8 that we're going to discuss.
That is true.
So social media will do that for you. Okay. It will rank your preferences.
According to what you like.
Okay, so a couple more.
Giving to
I'm telling you that this is what you want to read.
Good, you know?
a couple more messages. Sorry, this is from Bevelyn in Cape Coast. Says she loves the show. Thanks for making our Friday evenings exciting. Thank you. Otinge Jokum says, watching from London. Thanks to social media, I'm watching and enjoying your show live.
There you
go. Thank you. I mean, you know, traditionally, you'd need an OB van.
Yes.
True.
Right.
Huge like that. Huge.
With a crew of 20 people with a generator to transmit, and it won't be global.
Yeah. It wouldn't. Yeah.
Isaac is listening from Obuasi. He says the lounge is great. Thank you, Isaac. And says, I'm wondering a world without social media. I wonder how old you are, Isaac. But how did we manage, Audrey?
I can't imagine.
I think about it. I'm like.
But
really,
our lives were simpler.
But
you know the one thing, I think that it occupies too much time. Can I tease you about something?
Yes, please.
What is it about titles? You didn't say Miss Na, Mr. You know, so why aren't I Audrey Gadget for?
Oh, but you're prof. Prof is not easy to achieve.
No,
for Miss.
Miss, that one is automated.
Miss and Mr. is free.
Yeah.
Prof is not.
Prof.
So please let me.
Endorsement.
Egalitarian.
Anyway.
Equator.
Kweko, can I add something?
Sorry, what was I? Where
the
negative side.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yes, and Audrey was started talking about how much time it consumes.
Yes. It can be totally addictive.
Very.
You know, even for responsible adults like myself, who totally think social media, you know, should be consumed responsibly. Yeah. I find out that I have replaced television watching in the evening because I will not be interrupted when I'm working, you know. So I'm working and I'm not paying attention to all of that. Mm-hmm. People are sending you stuff. But at the end of the day, when I go home and I finish dinner, then I am checking my social media pages. I'll do a bit of WhatsApp, I'll go to Facebook, and it will lead me to this, and I'll read, and that it's good. But somebody would have posted an interesting article or a take on some kind of development that I missed during the day because I was working. We need to earn a living, you know. We don't sit around, you know, and WhatsApp the entire time, which is good. But before you know it, it's 11 p.m. and my curfew is 10.
Okay, so what do you guys say about that?
It's really time consuming, and especially in, I mean, I've seen it in several places, in hospitals, nurses on their phones, security men at banks, they're on their phone and you know it's WhatsApp, you know, assistants, it's everywhere. And people do not know how to control the addiction. It's so addictive, but for me personally, it's being able to schedule time to say that, no, after 12, this is when, during my lunch break, let me go on social media.
What should businesses do with staff that are busy, you know, spending office hours online?
They need a social media policy.
Yes.
They need to implement it and display it somewhere and make it public or educate their staff on it. You know,
and of course, there ought to be technology, the ability to block certain sites, the ability to
at certain times.
Do it though.
Right.
Yeah, a lot of schools block certain sites, and even in Legon sometimes they restrict.
At the University of Ghana.
Yes, at the University of Ghana, you know, they restrict, they have policies to restrict at certain times the YouTube access because the downloads become so much
slows it down
that the bandwidth is consumed. So instead of us doing, well, I'm not saying that YouTube cannot be used for real work because it can. It can be a great teaching tool. However, you know that you know, you have to have policies around that. Otherwise, it can be very disruptive.
Max.
Yeah, I think the companies, aside the policy, they must have some of the employees doing the social media marketing. Because trust you me, people carry their phones into the offices, so they go to the washroom and they can do whatever they want to do. So you can't block that one. The same
you can't put
work.
cameras in the washroom either.
Yeah, that's it. So you can't do that. So now it's a double-edged thing. So do we sit down and then our consumers are on social media? It's a conversational media. So why don't we get some of our workers dedicated, those who know how to do it? Let's give them some time bunch.
Of course, I mean, there's got to be like a department, you know, that does that. But I'm talking about, you know,
restricting them unproductive. It has nothing to do with your
so you need to do that. Working hours. Yeah. So if you do something, if you go on Facebook during working hours, you should be penalized for that.
Yeah, but
it should be in the policy.
How would you know that?
No, but if they are not on their desk, if you are giving them some work to do and they are not doing it, until you find them browsing Facebook or whatever, you can't say they are doing it. So you can't go on their page to even audit it real time, because you, the manager, you have a policy not to even check it. So unless you have a system administrator who trolls everybody's page to see whether they posted something during working hours.
So that's a challenge, isn't it?
Yeah. It's a challenge, you know. I mean, I know some organizations that block certain sites, so you can't access Facebook during working hours. Right. Some of the banks do that, right? And what you can also do is,
but that's on the office in the office system.
The network, exactly. But on the phones, what are you going to do? Can the employee meet their objectives at the end of the month? You know, you have to start assessing them, like, why have you not met your objectives? Is it because you are spending more time online?
Target.
Exactly, your targets, you know.
Cyberbullying.
And there have been really horrendous stories. And I think it goes back to the point about having, we're brands now.
Yes.
And sometimes people attack brands.
Yes.
Or also the point that I made about the fact that it is a social space. So some of the nastiness that can go on in the social space is taken onto social media. You know,
there are people, there are trolls, you know, especially on Twitter. People who hide behind the
trolls.
So a troll basically is anyone. It can be anyone, the most innocent looking.
And what do they do?
All they do is wait for someone to post something that seems off or something that's different.
And that they disagree with.
They just disagree.
Or they tease the people.
And they'll tease you. I mean, there's mild trolling, which can be a bit sarcastic and funny and witty. And there's trolling it's like, no, they really want to aggressively attack you and demean you, and it can really destroy someone's self-esteem. You know, so there are different types of trolls. I know and violent as well. I know some trolls, you know, but their trolling is more witty than, you know, aggressive or offensive. You understand? So it's basically anyone with a phone, you know, and deciding that, okay, they're just out to target people. And what kind of targeting are they doing?
And what's your advice to people to you or to people when they become the target of trolls?
I've become a target of trolls before.
And how have you managed it? What have you done? You ignore it?
One, I can ignore, because they're looking for you to say something so they can actually attack you more. So I'll either ignore you, block you, right? Because we have all those features available on Twitter, right? Or I can say something because I'm confident enough to say something that will silence you. And it's not an insult, not an attack, but I can tell you that maybe you are wrong, or, you know, try not to insult people. And I posted something recently, it was last week, and someone disagreed and called me petty, you know, and added some other words to it. I'm like, if you disagree with someone's opinion on social media, there's no need for you to insult them. There's no need for you to demean them. You don't even know them. So why do you just attack them like that?
Do you think that, you know, when you look at the the growing culture of intolerance and aggressiveness on social media. I mean, a place like Ghana Web.
Yes.
People call other people's mothers body parts, names.
Oh, yeah.
I've been called a prostitute before.
Yeah, but I mean, it's very easy because of the anonymity.
Exactly.
Yes.
So my question
because they hide behind it.
Is this what we are? Is this how people are? Yeah. Or is it social media that is making us this way?
Social media is not making
in other words,
people that way.
Yeah.
But I think that human beings, if you think you can get away with something, you will try and get away with it. And I mean, in a more conventional world that is not virtual, where somebody can put an identity to it, it becomes a check.
Yeah.
I mean, the same way that when we are out of our communities, we do things that when you are living in the village, you won't dare do.
Right.
Because everybody knows you, you know. So I think that, you know, we carry that on to social media where that's anonymity. Nobody is sure who you are, and therefore you can be as nasty as you
and they use fake names as well.
Yes.
So they feel like nobody can trace me.
Yes.
So
and I think that's the first thing is we talked about was selecting the people you are, the people you make friends, you hang out with virtually, right? So if I'm in a WhatsApp group and realize somebody picks information from the WhatsApp group and uses it against you on a different social media channel, you should have a way of blocking that person. You shouldn't have bullies or people who can harass you virtually on your friends list or as fans on your Facebook page.
But it's very tough. How do you stop it?
You know, but you see, on your personal profile, you can do all that. Somebody will send you a request before you accept. So you need to audit the kind of person you want to, you know, socialize with on your wall. So if you don't do that initial auditing of the people who form your community, then you introduce bullies into your cycles, and they will do that to just do bullying.
Just a couple more questions to wrap up. We didn't quite exhaust the fake news thing, and I want to ask you very quickly, how can we spot fake news?
It's very difficult to spot fake news, or just like these days, it's very difficult to spot fake drugs, you know? True. Very pharmaceuticals. True. It's very difficult.
If you receive a news story, or Audrey, and you are not sure, your antenna go up, what do you do? I
would read it, and then I'll say, where else can I go to verify this kind of news? So it always comes back to you.
So you go to your trusted news sources to see if this is there.
You can easily Google, right? Maybe the headline or something, and see what's going on.
I mean, you say some president has died.
And also sometimes it's just commonsensical. You know, I mean, I have been on social media sites where I didn't know for sure because I didn't check. But people would be going on and on because somebody sent some information, and I'm like, you guys, this doesn't sound plausible to me. Because, you know, I mean, really, when you reflect upon it, you know, you should be careful, you know. Sometimes
but that's you're Professor Audrey Gajekpo.
No, but I'm just saying that. So what we need to understand, basically, everybody must understand that when you get information on social media, you must not immediately think that it's true.
It's true, exactly. And it's just like I was saying about Google, right? It's a simple matter of just putting it there, and then you get the results. Go to news, right? And Google will pull up every news item, right? And I think we must be using more platforms to actually talk about how people can manage themselves online. Whether it's going to schools, going to churches, etc., and educating people that these are things you must be doing and not just
social media.
And quickly, can anyone survive without it?
I know I can't.
I mean, some people can.
Some people can.
But I don't know that it's advisable.
But I think they're even on WhatsApp, even though they say, oh, I'm not on Facebook.
I know somebody who is not on WhatsApp or Facebook.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, for real.
And he's doing,
I know a lot of people.
Life is fine, right?
Thriving.
It's thriving, exactly.
Thriving.
It's thriving.
Yeah.
Okay. Is he a lawyer?
I I think it's just a matter of time that people will come on board. You see,
Yeah.
just like
I think I know who it is, Audrey.
you know, just like the olden days where people started buying mobile phones. So the only way you can reach a friend is to have one.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Very soon, the only way to reach a friend is to
Yeah.
have a social media account or
Exactly.
presence. So
That is
you'll be
true.
forced
Even
to do
through
that.
social media, we
But-
are paying our friends,
Yeah.
we are sending money, you
That's
know.
it.
So very soon, that's what everybody
It's
will
going to
sign up
happen.
for.
Everybody will be dragged into that space.
Thank you to all of you for listening, and to our viewers as well, because it's 1 year since we launched the lounge, and to our sponsors, La Palm Royal Beach Hotel, and to Johnny Walker. Excuse me, I think I need a swig. And to Johnny Walker, keep walking, keep listening. Thanks, Naoyo Kumoji, Professor Audrey Gajeko,
Pleasure.
and Mr. Maximus Amotego. I am just Kweku Sakyi-Addo. Thanks for your time.
The Lounge, proudly brought to you by Johnny Walker. Keep walking.